Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. At the Bilibili World 2025 event in Shanghai from July 11th to 13th, they showed off live gameplay of the upcoming Atelier game. This is a played, single-player orthodox Atelier game set in the same universe as the now shut down in the West gacha game, which had gorgeous visuals but icky RNG gameplay. This introduces two new protagonists, has an original story set in the same world, and all the features of a traditional Atelier game, since longtime fans of the series found Yumiya to be quite a departure from the formula they love so much, and this just shows the developers' sort of commitment to the traditional type of gameplay that the series has always had. Here they were just trying to show off the field and there's the warmth, the nice colors, the good feeling and the positive vibes that you're going to get from this game, which is known through the more traditional games. Some nice quality of life, like being able to see what items you might get from a gathering spot before you collect from it. And here they're going to show off some battle. I am going to pause in between the battle to give you some more information from the text that is on screen, just in case you can't read it. It is in Chinese for this one, but they are explaining in Japanese. So this is a return to turn-based combat using a timeline on the right-hand side of the screen, and the whole idea here is to do things within that timeline and then use special skills to interrupt or to jump around in that timeline to do certain combos. You'll see that too with that circle around it on the bottom left here. That is your unity gauge that will go up as you conduct actions, skills, and attack the enemies. Again, gorgeous visuals. This is just a nice follow-up attack from Rias from Slade's attack. I'm going to pause here to give you a quick rundown of the skills that Sophie is shown to have here. She's got 4 magical and 1 physical. First one's Force Rush, just against a single attack target. Increases break damage by 25%, and she gains 100% AP if the enemy's guard is broken. Force Burst, which is magic damage to a single enemy, reduces their defense by 10%. When the guard is broken from the enemy, you gain TP. Divine Shield, which increases the entire party's defense by 10%. Cross Strike, which deals physical damage to a single enemy and reduces their guard resistance by 10%. If you are doing this when she's in the rear guard, and doing it through a chain action, it will increase the entire party's speed by 15%. And then finally, Twin Strike, which will deal damage, magical damage to all enemies. If the target's guard is broken, then you'll gain more TP. And if you're using this while in the rear guard, using it as a chain action will increase the entire party's attack by 5%. So lots of different synergy when you're using skills in the back row versus the front. AP is the currency that you use for doing skills. TP is harder to get, and that is what you're going to be using for doing the interrupts and all these special chain skills with the back row. Enemy turn. If you notice here, there was a perfect guard opportunity. The guard button pops up when you're attacked by the enemy, and if you do a guard at the right time, you'll take reduced damage. Okay, here they did do a UI thing where they toggled through the different items that Rias has on her. All the alchemists in this party had both skills and items. For Rias, the first one is a Cream Pie, which restores single ally HP and grants 20 AP. Then Healing Salve, which restores HP to a single ally. Blazing Nova Flame, which deals fire damage to all enemies. Power is increased by 25% against burning targets. Blizzard Ice Crystal, which deals ice damage to all enemies, and power increased to 26% to those affected with freeze. And then Conducting Stone, which is lightning damage to a single target and has 20% chance of inflicting paralysis. I do love how, just to sort of wait for translation and stuff, they're using a healing item against him even though he really didn't take much damage. Here they're going to show a chain command. So Slade's going to do an attack, and he's going to have 2 people from the back row select actions as well. You can do this for both actions and items if they're a character that can use items. And let's do a quick rundown of his skills. His first attack is Thunder Piercer, deals lightning damage to a single target and has a 100% chance to inflict taunt. Barrier Circle, which will increase his defense by 20%, and TP gain from guarding is increased by 10%, and he gains 1 AP when he guards, so I guess he's going to be kind of a tanky boy. The last 2 attacks they didn't show on the screen, so I can't really guess at what they do, although I can say that the bottom one, obviously through the icon, is a lightning slashing type attack.
那这里是使用 TP 进行了一个多重行动，这是本作的一个新的系统。
Okay, now we have Raze, who has a set of 5 different skills. First one is Radiant Analysis, which deals physical damage to a single target and increases the user's or his critical rate by 50%. Nice. The next one seems to be a unique ability by Raze. It's called Photon Mirage. It says that it generates one time card and that the generated time card will use a skill at random. However, if Raze then switches to the rear guard, the time card will disappear. Then he has 3 other skills which they didn't show. One is called the Twin Holy Blades, the Sword of the Fallen Heavens, and then the Driving Power.
使用这个多重行动之后呢
And I apologize, I didn't mean to just constantly break the flow of this and pause it, but I figure if you're watching this video, you are already a fan of Atelier, and you're probably interested to know any juicy details that you can possibly get. The first skill here is Healing Orb, which will restore HP to all allies. Windy Icebound, which deals ice and wind damage to a single enemy and reduces their resistance to both elements by 25%. It also delays the target's turn order by 1 slot, so it pushes them back. Duplicate, which allows you to use an item use without consuming a usage count, but the item's power and healing effects are reduced by 50%. And then they didn't show the effect explanations, but we have Power of the Earth, and then finally a very fun sounding skill which is called a Chim Dive. I imagine she'll summon chimps to dive in and hit the enemy. And then they go and just toggle over to items, so I guess you can mix skills and items, which is awesome. Lots of choices here. So her items that she has on her, first one is a Healing Bell, which restores HP to all allies. A Flame Burn, which does fire to a single target with a 50% chance of inflicting burn. Wind Spirit, we don't know what the effect is because it didn't show it. The same with the last 2, which would be the Blazing Nova Flame and the Gugnir Thunder Orb. No idea what those do. Finally, some gameplay that I don't have to pause. Yeah, the whole engine and the art in general is just really nice, especially in the online game, which is still going on here in Japan, the free-to-play one. Again, the gameplay is nothing like it. This is going to be a standalone consumer title, so that's good. I know a lot of people were not very hot about that game, which is why it actually shut down in the West. Hey, they won the battle. What's interesting is the interpreter here says, do it again, show another battle. I think it went by so fast because they were trying to translate everything. So they went ahead and started another battle. So this will be very brief, but we do get a peek at a few new abilities.
对，再开一战，不小心刚才打败了，没有展示完。
Okay, for this one, he's going to do a combination attack with Raze and Willabelle. Yeah, so Raze has 3 items here. He's got the Healing Bell for healing all the allies. He's got that Gugnir Thunder Orb, whatever that does. And then the last one we know from Willabelle coming up what it does, which is the Tornado Wind Spirit, which deals wind damage to all enemies, and its power is increased by 26% against enemies that are afflicted with blindness.
大家可以看到，刚才它展示了一下这个中断的功能，也就是说，如果是敌方。
Okay, now we go to Willabelle's items, and she's got 4 on her. First one is Cream Pie. This one it actually has Rias in the name. I don't want to say Rias's Cream Pie for obvious reasons, but again, pie making skills. I'm sure she'll be friends with Verona. Restores HP to a single ally and grants 20 AP. Then she's got the Tornado Wind Spirit, which deals wind damage to all enemies and increased by 26% against blind enemies. And then the Blizzard Ice Elemental, which deals ice to all enemies. Powers increased by 28% against enemies afflicted with freeze. Then at the bottom, she's got Magic Cannon, and then finally she has Magic Cannon, but not sure what that does. Considering how many items you could chuck at enemies, I'm really hoping that the end game for this is going to have a lot of really hard battles because, like, my gosh, just give me 1 or 2 characters who can use items and you know what happens in traditional Atelier games. We end up nuking all the enemies in turn 1. Okay, so now we're going to get a look at the world map here. I'm going to stop to translate this. Very basic pop-up tips like show management goals. Some objectives you need to complete involve changing types of goods sold in the shop. Trait limits. Each synthesized item can have only up to 3rd traits. If a 4th one is added, the 1st is removed. And then taunting. Taunting forces an enemy to lock their attack on that user. So for the alchemy, they stopped a lot to do translation. I think it's just easier to see it. But the idea here is that when you match a color from the left and right from one ingredient to the next, that's what takes in the trait and puts it onto the item. But an item can only have 3 traits. So sometimes you need to put in an item just because it's part of the recipe, or you want to, increase its item level. But you don't want to overwrite a trait, so in that point you would take a color that doesn't link together, for example. Once you select the ingredients to make the item, you then get 3 additional ones. These can be used to just sort of enhance traits even more, or if you want, you can start selecting items that branch off in the recipe book from that item, so that you can start at an earlier stage so that you can build up those traits to be even bigger. They said that this isn't really that necessary throughout the game, but it's some min-maxing that you can do. Later on, obviously, you'll get materials when you gather that already have those powerful traits, but early in the game, where if you just want to min-max it, you'll be able to sort of do all that whole process of making the first item, combining it, making it, using it for the second item, and do it all in one shot, which is a great way to streamline it without making it too simple. So here they're able to push it to its next form in the recipe book, and here they get the choice now to add in more ingredients to further make it stronger. The very last one here, they were able to use a catalyst, which allows them to select a type of item that's normally not in this recipe. So it could be a piece of lumber, fish, which can certainly help with that sort of loop of, creating a wood item and then transferring that to like distilled water and then transferring that back so you can do it all that. It seems that you'll be able to plan and do all that within one synthesis, which is pretty awesome. And now they're going to show off the sort of Slade's function here. He can take an item like a ring, or I'm guessing equipment, and he can strengthen it. Here you choose one of his cores, which has different effects. And then this is going to be your coal sinker. You're able to select help from any of the fairies or the characters that you have up until this point, and they all have different effects. Like, for example, will increase the magic attack power of the item, or will do this. And it seems like you'll be able to just strengthen items probably several times using these different characters. And I like that it's not RNG and that it's more set effects here. It's just a way that you can craft an item and then strengthen it to continue using it, even though it may be lower level for where you're at. Alright, and a new map. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory from the graphics, and I'm going to omit words that I assume are game original locations that I just don't know yet. And just to be thorough, but the locations that are shown that you can teleport to within Halfane is the General Store, the Starry Dance Plaza, Central Plaza, Farming District, Commercial District, and the Residential District. 2 fun loading tips. One just says Rose's secret, 2, and says that since he used to be a butler, he's surprisingly good at chores like cleaning just like anybody else. And then one that says the path of the overworld sealed zones. Says there are some dangerous areas within the path of the overworld. Once entered, these areas will become sealed, cutting off your escape route. Defeating the monsters will lift the seal and also may uncover hidden treasures. I like the idea of going into a dungeon and not being able to get out. It's nice. Here they're just showing off the town. It looks absolutely gorgeous and quaint, very cute. And they're just heading over to her grandfather's shop. Love the running animation for her. Pass up to Tori, go right into our shop. The shop was also pretty easy to understand, so I'm not going to translate everything here, but basically you got your shelf, you're selling items, and you can use that same color coordinating system so that if things are linked, it'll increase the probability they'll be bought, the quantity, the price that it's bought for, and stuff like that. Then we've got a whole bunch of other ins and ends that you can select from, and you have all these little shelves that you can manage. It seems like they've went quite far with the simulation here, and you can find like a ton of fairies. It's not just those 3. So assigning different characters or fairies to different tasks can result in different outcomes for your shop. Here they're just showing all the different teams that they have. It's so many to choose from. Seems like everything in this game is going to have little micro effects, for the micromanager and Excel spreadsheet crazed people like myself. All sorts of ways that you can optimize like crazy to get the most amount of stuff for your buck. Seems like the shop will also have a lot of like in-game achievements that you can rank up your shop, allow you to earn a different experience and stuff like that. And also they have a interior decoration system which they show off at the end here, and depending on how you decorate stuff, they also have different effects on your atelier as well. Like For example, decorating it a certain way will, increase the prices of residential goods by 5% and stuff like that. Hopefully at the end it won't be too tied to the item, so you can just visually choose whatever the heck you want without any demerits, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the shop system looks nice and cute. We'll have to wait for the full game to find out just how in-depth this thing's going to be. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my translations and coverage of this Bilibili World footage. I'm hyped for this game. Hope you guys are as well. Until next time, happy crafting.